Very good evening to you. I am Ryan Broom with this Sunday, November 12th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story, Barbados joined countries around the world honoring its World War I and II veterans and war dead in the annual Remembrance Day parade this morning. Acting Governor General Sir Philip Graves, Prime Minister Frundle Stewart, Opposition Leader Mia Motley, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and senior officials on the Barbados Defence Force and the Royal Barbados Police Force all laid wreaths at the cenotaph in National Hero Square. The parade also featured a short interdenominational service, and scores of Barbadians and visitors gathered in Bridgetown to observe the proceedings. Now, World War I started in 1914 and ended in 1918, while World War II started in 1939 and ended in 1945. The Young Men's Christian Association of Barbados will soon be embarking on a multi-million-dollar improvement for its Pinfold Street home. Word of this from its president, Antonio Elcock, following a joint service with the Young Women's Christian Association. Once the plans are approved, the association will be hoping to get the project off the ground by 2019.
The institution, as you would see it, and the facilities are now undergoing remedial renovation with a view within the next couple of years to have a full-blown renovation and new buildings built, auditorium and some other ancillary buildings. The estimated budget on the new works is probably going to cost us around $3.5 million Barbados dollars. That will include an auditorium that will include a basketball facility and other sporting facilities, toilets, general area for members, and an entrance facility.
In the meantime, Mr. Elcock explains the association is seeking to boost its membership and volunteers.
If you are not inclined to become a member, we still accept friends of the way, sponsors of the way, donors of the way. So it's about giving of your time, and we will very much appreciate to have persons who would become role models to some of the youngsters. Our goal for membership really is to have 6 to 16-year-olds as the core group of the YMCA.
The Democratic Labour Party has a record of which it can be proud going forward. This was a strong message of Christchurch West candidate Verla De Pisa as she delivered the Astor B. Watts DLP lunchtime lecture at the party's George Street headquarters. She contends that in the 20-year period of the 1960s and 70s, the DLP's social engineering transformed the Barbadian landscape, which set the pace for the country to be lifted to an international standard.
When we think about the things that have been done in terms of nation building, we like to speak about educational advances and national insurance scheme and things of that nature. I like to speak more in terms of how the human capital moved itself forward, not necessarily out of the fields, because you will find from my speech that we need to get back in them, but in having a wider scope for our people. Our girls weren't only going to be maids and working in the field, and our boys weren't only going to be bus boys, but they had options.
Now, while acknowledging the island's current economic woes, Mr. Pisa urged Barbadians to remember how past hurdles were dealt with by her party.
In the middle 1970s, what the world coming on to the 80s, what the world likes to call the oil crisis, that impacted significantly on Barbados and its development, and we came out on the other side much better than we were before. And again, in the 1990s, we had another period in the doldrums, and again, everybody credits Sir Lloyd. We came out on the other side better than we were before. I want you to remember those, stick a pin, because we're going to come out on the other side of this present situation better than we were before.
The Wastewater Division, or WWD, of the Barbados Water Authority in recent weeks has been conducting a cleaning program from Hastings Main Road, Christchurch, and beyond to alleviate manhole overflows along the southern corridor. During this cleaning program, a blockage in the sewage line was discovered, and starting last night, the WWD has been carrying out further investigations to determine the extent of the obstruction and an approach towards clearing it. In phase 1 of this investigative process, work crews will be operating in the Worthing Christchurch area between Republic Bank Barbados Limited and the Graham Hall Nature Sanctuary. However, no disruption of service is expected during this initial stage of the work. Now, through the media, the BWA will be keeping the public updated on the progression of its investigations. Well, we take a pause here, but we'll have more news after the break.
I'm Justin Campbell, race car driver. On the track, I take every safety precaution and follow the rules. On the road, I do the same. As Barbados recognizes November as Road Safety Month, I encourage all road users to keep safety on the road as rule number 1.
On Sunday, November 19th, the NIFCA Performing Arts Gala returns to the Garfield Sober Sports Complex at 6 p.m. Performing artists of all ages and all styles from all over Barbados perform on one stage. Join us for a night of excellence with some of your favorite groups. It's the NIFCA Performing Arts Gala, Sunday, November 19th at 6 p.m. sharp. Adults $30, children $10. Tickets available at CS Pharmacy, A&B Music, Sheraton Center, Warren's Ticket Center, Massey Stores, Emerald City Supermarket, the National Cultural Foundation, and TicketPal.com. Also sponsored by Scotiabank, Sagicor, and Massey.
The People's Business gets to the heart of the matter every Sunday at 8:05 p.m. Call us live at 228-5562 or 228-5563 or email us at talk@cbc.bb to share your questions or comments and to be part of the live discussion. That's The People's Business, Sundays at 8:05 p.m. on CBC TV8. The People's Business is made possible by our partners, Solar Dynamics, the most efficient energy systems.
The Ministry of Education will host a series of town hall meetings to sensitize teachers and parents about what's involved in the administration of the Barbados Secondary School's entrance examination. Take note of the meetings scheduled for November. On Saturday, November 18th, meetings take place at Church of God of Prophecy behind Milton Lynch Primary School, Princess Margaret Secondary, as well as Roland Edwards Primary. On Tuesday, November 21st, the venues are St. Bartholomew Primary, Cuthbert Moore Primary, and George Lamming Primary. On Thursday, November 23rd, meetings will be held at Sharon Primary, St. George Primary, and Eden Lodge Primary, and the final meetings for November will take place on Saturday, November 25th at Darrell Jordan Secondary, St. John Primary, and A. DaCosta Primary. All meetings begin at 5 p.m.
Welcome back. Well, there's some sad news here. It's believed that there's been a breakthrough in the case of 2 missing men on the northern side of the island. Kareem Smith was on the scene when it happened.
We're here at the Animal Floor Cave where what appears to be the body of a man has just surfaced. It follows an announcement from police that they, along with Coast Guard officials, were searching for a 38-year-old police constable from St. Peter and his close friend from St. Thomas. The two disappeared on Friday night. The sight of the dead body drew the attention of a number of patrons and workers at the cave. Meanwhile, Don Archer, an employee who also goes fishing around the cave, said yesterday morning he discovered that 2 of his friends were missing.
I used to carry my men at the fishing. So we went at the bar for the keys, opened the hut, opened the cave, and I carry back the keys by the bar, you know, and I went straight up by the sea cliff. To my surprise, I only see the rods and the bags and the bait, and so I seen the boy at all. So I decided now to go at the edge of the cliff and look around. I realized there was a rod at the bottom. So I said, this is strange, man.
He's not coping well with the situation.
I knew the guys for quite a few years fishing, and we get somehow attached, you know, to by that. And they're gone, right? I felt real bad.
Owner Manuel Ward shared his feelings about the incident.
We're really sorry about everything, and you know, condolences to the family, to both guys, and that's it. You know, I don't know.
Would you describe fishing around here as an unsafe practice?
No, I would not. The amount of fishing that goes on here constantly, every night. Up to this morning, I had 3 guys fishing on that point over there. We had some guys fishing over on that point over there. So it's used a lot. I think it's just that you have to think about when you're doing it, what is the sea like? Is the sea a bit rough? If it's a bit rough, you don't want to go down there.
Police arrived on the scene moments later to assess the situation. But up to the time of this report, Police Inspector Roland Cobbler would only reveal that a body had been found, but not yet identified. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Well, the two powerful hurricanes that ripped through the region earlier this year have dealt a serious blow to tertiary education. Combined, Irma and Maria impacted 45,000 students across the University of the West Indies system, but most notably the Open Campus, which has a strong presence in Dominica. Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Open Campus, Dr. Luz Longsworth, says the figures so far are purely estimates since the formal assessments have not yet been carried out.
But we are estimating a revenue loss, just the revenue from tuition fees and also from governments who obviously will have it very hard to pay for students of US 6, and in fact it's gone up a little bit when I looked at it last night to probably 8 million US just in what we would have expected as revenue. Repairs and interim reconstruction costs approximately 1 million US, and equipment replacement at this point approximately 500,000 US. Medium-term reconstruction cost of the Dominica site, US $7 million.
Dr. Longsworth was one of the panelists at the UWI's Vice Chancellor's Forum, which examined the topic Irma and Maria, Relief, Reconstruction and Reparations. She says the UWI has formed a partnership with the Caribbean Disaster and Emergency Agency to look at how the region can help itself in times of disaster. Out of it, Dr. Longsworth says a company, the Caribbean Emergency Management Association, will be formed to spearhead fundraising and collaboration efforts in North America.
This organization will have as its mandate keeping the love alive, so to speak, keeping the issues happening in our region alive, especially with the diaspora. Because the people in the diaspora are very anxious to participate, but they had no actual route, and it was very, very disorganized. So one of our aims is to organize that participation, not just in fundraising, but in skills and in people who wish to come back to the region to assist in the rebuilding effort.
Well, we'll take another break here, but sports news is next with Damian Best.